Welcome to the Money Down, and just we back at it again. Some more news.
Young breezy.
If y'all ain't know,
Yeah.
Mr. Warren Herring, he's a vocalist.
Sign me.
Y'all ain't know,
American
right?
Idol, you feel
Sign
me?
me, boy.
So if y'all think he need to go on American Idol, Masked Singer, whatever the heck, need to get my dog a tryout. I think
Hey, that Masked Singer show kind of raw, fam.
Yeah, tap in. We gotta get him on there. We gotta get this blown up. You would take it for real if you got on that show? Would you?
All right, you already know. As long as I get the gorilla costume, that's my spirit animal. I'm a silverback.
You a sicko, man.
Or let me rock a Hulk costume. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, it might be fire in the Hulk costume for sure.
Yeah.
So we got some more news from EA college football. That they actually sent out all the letters to all the players where they can, if they want to opt into the game, they get $600 and a free copy of the game. Y'all,
hey,
y'all think that's enough? I mean, we not in college football no more. So it's enough for me just to get the game out there. I could really care less. I think they deserve to get more. How do y'all feel about the price? I feel like it should be at least a couple bands, 2,000 or something. You know what I mean? 600 kind of short. I mean, I know the game costs about $70 itself.
Yeah,
but
that game about to be. They probably gonna rack in about $2 billion for that game. I'm assuming they're gonna make a lot of revenue, and the players only. I mean, you know what? I'm all for the players getting played. I mean, getting played. Wow. I'm all for the players getting paid. They need to get that check. You know what I'm saying? I think, having to use a player's likeness and name and all that stuff, they need to get a big check, every single one of them. But in this instance,
it's the one
we've been waiting for this game for a decade. They need to relax. They need to chill. Let this game slide. Let us all enjoy what we've been missing for 10 years. Because if you think about it, a lot of these players that are on this game probably never touched NCAA. If you think about it, they might have. Maybe. But the last game was 10 years ago. These kids was in...
Yeah, a little jitterbug. I mean,
elementary school?
I probably was on the game with that.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, it was in elementary school, so that's what I'm saying. Like, let this rock. Let them get going. Let them rack up that cheese. And that way, you know how much they made, how much they grossed from the game, from video game sales. And then the next video game, then you say, okay, hey, we need more of that. But let this first one slide, because we don't want to be delayed. We've been waiting for this for 10 years. We can't put this off another 2 years just to have a negotiation. And I'm being selfish. But yeah, the players definitely need to be paid more for sure. But for us little folk, you know what I'm saying? That's been waiting for this. We've been hurt for 10 years. We've been down for 10 years. I'm waiting for this, bro. So let it slide.
I ain't gonna lie, Warren. That what you just said, I never thought about it like that. These kids don't know what that road to glory with Reggie Bush was like, man.
They don't.
That was epic.
Yeah.
But 600, man. Come on, y'all boys. We can't even go to Tornado Room with that, man. Tornado gonna eat all that. You can't even take your little, your college smarter, your girlfriend, whatever
you want to call it. Yeah.
Whatever
you could do something. You know what I'm saying? McDonald's done hit inflation. You know what I'm saying? They ain't got a dollar menu no more for real. You could do something like that.
But that's why I was thinking. I was like, man, EA Sports. I know they know the times, but like you said, inflation, bro, everything done went up. Get these kids $1,500.
Yeah,
$2 grand. But I'm with you, Warren. Like, I know for me, if I was in college right now, I just would be, again, we're video game fanatics. We play the game. So I just know I would be so excited, dog, that I'll take that 600 and, like you said, that free copy of the game. And they need to speed the process up. Like, it's almost summertime. That trailer need to be dropping. I need to see some game footage. Because you made a comment earlier, bro. This shit might be Madden just in college.
I'll be hurt, bro. I would be hurt.
I'm be hot if this is Madden.
Got me excited for that.
If they do that, man, people still gonna play it just because the wait. But that'll be a huge disappointment. My thing with the opt-in thing, y'all think there's going to be any players that don't opt into the 600? Because the game still get made regardless. You think it's going to be? You really think it's going to be players not to opt in?
Bro, think about this. There's 130 some teams, right? You got maybe like 90 teams, 90 kids per roster. Bro, you're out of that 12,060 kids, if I did my math right, bro, you think not one of them is going to say, oh, I need more cheese. It's probably going to be one of them kids, no offense, it's probably going to be one of them players that ain't getting enough NIL, that ain't making a lot of NIL that do it.
But it's a fight that you're not gonna win. So it's like you might as well get your 600.
But it's gonna delay the game. But it's gonna delay the game.
It's not gonna delay the game. I think their name's just not gonna be in it. It'll just be whatever, just like it was before. Running back number 6. Yeah, number 6. And everybody else got their name.
Somebody will fill it in and put the roster online.
Yeah, so I don't know what the perk is of not doing it. You ain't gonna fight with EA Sports and they're gonna pay you more than 600. That's not happening. They gonna cash in regardless. But yeah, I don't see a reason why anybody wouldn't just opt in, get you 600 a game and keep it pushing. I'm sure like going into next year, I'm sure people be like, all right, we deserve more. I'm sure the more money they make off of it, they'll be willing to cash out a little bit more. Hopefully, that's the way it goes. And then another part of the game. Oh, you go ahead.
You know what's crazy? Like I've been seeing this past weekend, right? Curb Street. He sent out the tweet. He opted in the game. Chris Fowler opted in the game. Yep. I mean, all the legendary interviewers and commentators have opted in this game. I know they broke them boys.
They gave them a piece.
Yeah.
So 600, bro. Come on, man.
And truth be told, if you think about it, it's like maybe 7 million of that 2 billion that I guarantee you they gross 2 billion, bro. Because you got people that have been playing it that's gonna want to get it. You got people that have never played it that's gonna not only buy a new system but buy the game. And then you got all these young kids that have come up that have never touched it but have only heard about how great the games were. That's gonna buy it. I guarantee you they hit the bees for one, and for two, $7 million is like a fraction of what that is, bro. Next year, let that thing slide this year. Then next year, cash out.
Yo, boys, I got cousins, dog, that are married, bro. Like 10 years marriage types, talking about this might threaten my marriage, bro.
Bro, as one of your homeboys, it's gonna threaten mine. I already told the wifey, bro. Hey, the first month, I'm out of commission. I'm in hibernation.
Hey. Grinding.
It's season mode. That's an every night extravaganza.
That's what that's the fun part about the college football is there's so much more that goes into it aside from just playing the game. Recruiting. Now you got NIL, transfer, all that stuff. You really get into it. I've been seeing a ton of tweets too, like plenty of people that don't play video games anymore. They're gonna be getting back. They may go buy a system just for this game. So EA Sports got to get it right. And I saw that, there might not be no FCS teams on there. Y'all think that's an issue when it comes to this game or no big deal? I mean, like I said, I'm sure there's kids that want to be on the game that play at some of the smaller schools that, they win their championships, rightfully so. And there's a lot of good players that come out of there. So do you think those guys should be featured in the game as well? I'm sure it's probably a money thing. They don't want to cash them out as well. I don't know. Which thoughts on that?
100%, they should be in the game. And my thing is, college football or EA Sports has had enough time. Like this ain't something that just like randomly popped up. Like they've been talking about, everything they've been saying is we've been, building this up and discussing this. So they had enough time to put the smaller schools in the game, man. I just think it's only right. Like that's what makes college football. You have these smaller schools that'll play a Tennessee week 1 and upset them. And it's just that's what makes college football. I think they should, go back and put the extra. I guess, the game's now coming out within the next 6 months, so it might be too late. But I just think, moving forward, maybe next year is something that they should definitely put in the game for the small schools.
But they didn't do all FCS teams right in the past. I think for them last few editions of the game, them last few years of the game, they were doing like FCS West, FCS North, FCS South. So like whenever you play your schedule, you see like FCS, one of those teams. So it wasn't like an actual team. So like coming off the last few editions, maybe you do something like that, but I don't think it's necessary. I think it's a little unfair for the kids that are putting in that work. Yeah, like that's hard. You know what I'm saying? Like you have had years prior where they've done it for those smaller schools and things like that. But like, I mean, you could even throw in some of those like bigger programs that have won the FCS national championship time and time again, North Dakota State, stuff
Mount
like
Union,
that.
all that.
You can throw 10, 20 teams in there like that have been in the rankings consistently, right? And make that as like like an incentive for like the next year, things like that to continue to add teams. But I don't think it's a point of having like 200 different teams in the video game. Bro.
Did Carson Wentz go to North Dakota State?
Yeah, Christian Watson.
And Christian, that's what I'm saying. So you got big time players that go first round or end up being franchise players in smaller schools. You got to, bro.
Yeah.
How would you feel if you were Carson Wentz and you weren't in college football? You damn near that quarterback that year type thing. Like, bro, you got to put him in.
Yeah, and like I said, like I would love to see it. I would love to see it, and I think one day maybe video games enhance so much to where you can do that, right? And they have enough time to prepare the game and whatnot, and pay the players what all of these players. But I think for right now, with it coming out, and I'm being selfish, nah. Let's get it out this summer. Like we ain't got to do that extra right now. And I apologize, players that ain't in there, but it's coming.
I want the jump around, like the actual music, like, and that's what's going to be interesting to me. So, like for instance, like a team like Virginia Tech that comes out to like Enter the Sandman. I want to say it's like Metallica or one of these. I don't know the exact band, but it's it's one of the bands. But I just know like that's gonna cause so much. Like, I'm sure Metallica going what they cut a check. You know what I'm saying? Like all these schools like Ohio State with the, with their their chants and traditions, like all of that has to be in the game. But I'm sure like legal stuff comes into a factor, which I just want to see how they're gonna work through.
Yeah, that'd be dope. It's so authentic to the stadiums. That junk make it definitely epic. We'll keep it on the same along with the college sports. It's been a big topic over the last few months, storming the courts in basketball. We've been a part of storming the field. I know we've been a part of a couple of those in college, and a couple of the players. Caitlin Clark got knocked down, and the kid from Duke got his knee, whatever, hit and got banged up just for the last night. So how do y'all feel about, kids storming the court? It is, kind of chaos. I don't know if you were there when we upset somebody in basketball, Warner. We stormed the court.
It was Michigan.
We stormed the court, as fans.
Yeah,
so
I was there.
We've been on both sides of it. So it's definitely, it gets chaotic, especially for the players. If you're an opposing player, you just lost. You got crazy fans, maybe drunk. They just don't care. They trying to, go viral in the moment. Got cameras in your face, all that good stuff. I don't know what's everybody's stance on that. I know storming the court is a part of college sports, and it's fun, but it definitely stinks when you're on the opposing side and you're trying to get off the court and guys people yelling in your face. Which look, I get it, but I don't know how they're gonna be able to manage this. Whether they can hold people off as much as possible until the opposing team exits, and then allowing the kids to get on. Obviously, that would be the rite of passage. But at the same time, these kids they not waiting. As soon as that clock hits 0, there's no way they're gonna stop. 30,000 students and fans and all that from getting on the court. I don't know how y'all feel about that whole situation. Obviously, seeing people getting knocked down and all that.
Yeah, it's difficult, man. Especially, college basketball or a college, court might be a little bit easier just because it's not as big to maneuver through. But think about like football. Like think about if I'm on the opposing team's 40-yard line and the locker room is on the other side and I got to walk through all that. And like you hinted to, like my biggest thing is we know these college kids. We know they drinking and they drunk. Especially with how everything is set up now with people wanting to go viral and have that moment. Like, I just know, especially when you take a hard loss like that, we've been there before. You got so much emotion built up in you. It's like you kind of need a second to decompress and kind of get into that mode of, okay, now I got to go talk to media and stuff. But instead of that, I got college kids rushing the field. it's liquor all in their breath. They saying, you know, God knows what, right? But then if I just take it out of just frustration and excuse my language, punch them in they, you know, punch them in there, you know what? Then I'm the one in trouble.
Yeah, you crazy.
I'm the one crazy and I'm in trouble and I got to deal
People
with
want to press charges. Like, that's crazy.
So I think if it's really a big issue to them, they got to address it, man. Like you said, wait. You know, give opponents whatever the losing team an opportunity to get off the court or the field, whatever it is. And then if y'all want to rush and y'all want to celebrate with the team, you know, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I think it's like it's part of the game. You love it. You love when the fans get involved and things like that and want to celebrate with their team, the home team, and things like that. But now it's getting kind of chaos. You have like two key players that. And it ain't like it's been some regular player, no offense, you know what I'm saying? But it's been two key players to their teams. Imagine if that injury's worse and that kid's out for the rest of the season. Or somebody like Caitlin Clark, who just broke the record for most points scored in a woman's college basketball history, right? Like if you take her, if she comes out that game and she's out for the season, she never gets a chance to break that record, right? Yeah. Like you're like that. That's messing with people's careers, and it ain't like people dodging you. They not. They trying to get to the center court or whatever, and to the
they
team.
running blind.
They running blind, right? And like let it be. You know, like we said, like one of them athletes that don't, you know, one of them players that just don't like that, right? You get into a player's face and say some profanity because like we've caught it on social media where some guys have like mouthed some things and it's like really hurt somebody. You know what I'm like one of the players or an athlete. Let somebody retaliate, right? You say something like smart and it's an emotional game and they knock you out, you slump on the floor and go viral for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and like one of those athletes are gonna get, you know, people gonna press charges, people gonna make a big deal out of it. But I mean, hey, that's part of the game, right? Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
The perfect example is I want to say there was a video that went viral of Alabama fans, you know, heckling and harassing Texas fans, right?
Texas, yeah.
And was calling them all type of, you know what, N-words and all that stuff like that. And that video goes viral. Obviously, you know, Bama didn't, you know, they were home. So, you know, none of those fans rushed the field. But just imagine if it was reversed, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, those guys that were talking were on the field. So you got people, right, not in their right state of mind, calling you all type of things. And we know there's certain things, you know, African-American or, you know, whatever race that if somebody call you, it's just going to take you to another level immediately. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's not right, you know what I'm saying? But it's just going to take you to another another space mentally. And then that's where, you know, the stuff we're talking about, you know, it just escalates into, you know, a whole nother situation, man. That can go so many ways.
Yeah, you just never know how somebody's gonna react. Like I said, it's a highly emotional game. You don't have enough time to decompress, and you got somebody running on the field, on the court, you know, yelling and screaming or may say something that may just tick you off. Like I said, it may not be me, it may not be one of us, but there's plenty of people that we know that we play with. You say just the wrong thing, or you run by them just a little too quickly. Yeah, they might actually do some shit, and you know, like I said,
I guess last week, shit crazy to Garrett, man. You got knocked out.
Yeah, you got to be careful. That's not like a warning, but like as fans, you got to be careful. You
got to be respectful, though. You got to be respectful.
You don't know who you're dealing with sometimes. Like I said, some people on edge, you know, after a loss, and kind of talking about, you know, college football, college sports. You know, Johnny Manziel just did a little interview with Shannon Sharp on his Club Shay Shay. I thought it was pretty cool to hear him, you know, kind of open up about his career in college and NFL, that transition. You know, talking about how he was a big star at Texas A&M. You know, he was getting paid, you know, before NIL and all that stuff, getting cash. You know, kind of taking care of his teammates, taking care of his family, having a good time, and how he had that, you know, that aura. Like he had everything, you know, that he wanted and that he needed, playing at the elitist level and all that. And, you know, going into the draft, you know, he wasn't probably necessarily the greatest, you know, prospect at quarterback, but he had a lot of hype based off how he played. He, you know, was one of those first freelance type players, truly freelance. You know how they compare like the Mahomes and like all those guys. He was one of the first of like truly freelance out there, extend plays and, you know, throw it up, and had all that hype around him, getting to hang around Drake, LeBron James, all these guys before, he even really stepped foot, into the NFL and perform. I thought it was cool how he opened up and talked about it, because it's truly, kind of crazy, the transition that you have from, college to the NFL. The game is different, man. If you don't really manage your time, the right way, you're not going to go out there and just walk on the field without watching film, without, practicing hard and think you're going to throw for 300 yards, no picks, and, do your thing for 17 weeks. If you don't put that work in and just try all about having a good time, it's just crazy. I don't know if I didn't see the whole thing. I just saw some clips, like I'm sure you guys did, but I don't know what you guys kind of thoughts about him opening up about his, his struggles too. It's pretty cool to hear somebody actually talk about that, because he had all the the power, the stardom in the world, and kind of got stripped away from him based on how he performed in the NFL on and off the field.
Yeah, I thought it was extremely dope, for him to honestly, and then sit with somebody as powerful as Shannon Sharpe. You know what I'm saying, right now, as far as like, the whole media space. But I mean, dog, me and my homeboy, we just had this conversation, like, Johnny at the height of Johnny football, dog. Like, I don't want to say the greatest, but like, bro, he beat Bama twice when Bama was, and I get it, bro. Bama's had numerous of great teams that came through there that could be, one of the best teams ever in college football, X, Y, and Z. He beat Bama when I tell you, Bama was them boys. And I just think for him to come out and also speak on his struggles and all that, especially, like you said, where his headspace was, and to be as big as he was, everybody on the outside would think, right? Like, what does this person have to complain about? Everybody thinks, right? Money, money, money. Mm-hmm. But I think you get to a certain point in your life, or, whatever it is, where the money can't keep you happy, right? Like, I tell people all the time, right? The more money you make, and Biggie said it, the more problems. Like, it's not just like, I get all this money and all these problems go away. Like, no, actually more problems come. People asking you for stuff. I can't go to the restaurant and eat. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so much stuff that come with it. So to hear it from somebody of that stature and how hype he was at the moment, and like you said, hanging with Drake, hanging with Braun, being in college at Texas A&M and being on, PJs, and being at Live when Live was the height of that. Yeah. I used to wish I used to Live on Sunday.
On Sunday.
Yeah. Just step foot near that without a check, boy.
So just hearing him talk about it, I think is dope. And I think we need to hear more big dog players give their testimony, so that these young guys coming up can understand that, bro, the mental space of this whole thing is extremely important, dog. Yeah. Extremely important.
Yeah, I agree with that, man. It was cool. I don't want to say cool, but it was great to hear him open up, be vulnerable, talk about his struggles. Like, it's another thing that, has been talked about a lot recently is depression, right? He talked about having depression and things like that. And like Breeze was saying, like, people talk about like what he got problems for. He got all this money. Like, money just cascades that. It just builds up, right? And so you think about kids right now, well, now they're getting NIL money and things like that. Like, that's something like people need to hear, because like that's a real thing, right? You can have everything, you can have everything. You can have the fame, you can have the fortune, you can have the popularity, so on and so forth. But like, it's never gonna fill that space, right? It's never gonna fill that space. And I think, and not to get all crazy, but I think that's a big thing why people talk about faith, right? Yeah. But I mean, it was great to hear his struggle and hear somebody like that was of that caliber, that have hit the pinnacle of athlete, right? That has hit the pinnacle of popularity and fame and getting paid and having an opportunity in the NFL, talk about that struggle, because like I said, you have to hear that. And like I said, people that don't get to go through that every day, like, need to hear that for understanding of what athletes, not just Johnny Manziel, but tons of athletes have gone through that, right? Tons of athletes have, suffered from depression, have had the money. You hear about athletes that have gone bankrupt, blown it, spending that check and spending money on family members and things like that. So, I mean, it was good to hear, and I'm hoping more people listen to that, man.
Yeah, for sure. And it's cool to see him that he's in a solid space right now too. He's kind of, move past that. He's whatever, done rehab, all that stuff, whatever. He's in a good spot right now, which is good to see, because sometimes, we don't see guys end up in that spot. It takes a while to get back and feel like your normal self. But I think the timing is just right for him to come out and speak to, like you said, with the NIL money and all that stuff. All these kids coming from college to the NFL, feeling a little entitled, thinking you're going to walk in and be that guy coming into the NFL and things are going to come for you easily, on and off the football field. Like I hear it all the time, like going back to like my agency retreats. Now guys just thinking they deserve certain things as far as, brands, endorsements, and all that stuff before they even, touch the field in the NFL. It's like you hustling backwards, man. If you just go out there, ball out, take care of yourself on the field, handle your business, all that shit's gonna come, man. Just be patient. Like the fame and all that stuff is cool, but it's gonna go away one day. You still gotta have, be a good person. You gotta be yourself, at the end of the day. I think the timing is just perfectly right for him to come out and say this, especially because, like, obviously sports, when sports is all about money, especially when these organizations and players, like, everybody wants to maximize their money, but like I said, all the money and the fame is cool, but like we know plenty of people that have everything, cars, clothes, jewelry, but still feel empty on the inside, because all that shit don't really matter at the end of the day, man. You still gotta have a solid foundation, man.
Yeah. And I seen, maybe it was like a couple weeks ago, I seen Braun come out and he had like a little segment at the end of the game. He spoke about it, just saying like, how he sees so many people worry about, the jewelry, the cars and all that thing, those type of things. And it is appealing, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Especially when we start getting these GOATs to talk about these type of stuff in these situations, I think that's when it really grabs certain people, right? Like, I mean, for us, we know who Johnny Manziel is, and quite frankly, like, the guys going into the league in this draft and drafts to come, they probably know, who Johnny Manziel is, but they didn't get that Johnny Manziel effect like how we did, right?
Yeah.
So to them, it's all stories. Like, we could say that about Reggie Bush. Like, the kids now probably, like you said, Warren, are catching the tail end of like, damn, Reggie Bush might have been the coldest motherfucker to touch the pill, right?
Yeah.
But in 2-3 years, it's going to be kids that's just hearing the stories that we're telling. You know what I'm saying? But when we have those guys like, I don't know, man, like the LeBron James, the Kevin Durant's, and then when you go to the NFL, maybe, the Tom Brady's, like, I'm sure, you know what I'm saying? I can't speak for everybody, but I'm sure at some point those guys have had, mental battles.
Yeah.
Whatever it be, it might not have been money, it might not have been, but we all face a battle that, you know what I'm saying, that, some people don't know.
Yeah.
But if those guys come out and they tell their testimony and kids can relate to that and see like, damn, you know what? LeBron struggled with some of the shit that I struggle with right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can take that and you can build from that, and we can kind of get these guys, the financial, knowledge, or, the mental space knowledge that, they're going to have to, take on and be prepared for.
Yeah,
100%.
And I was gonna say, like, one thing he touched on, like at the end of that, or not at the end of that segment, but as he was talking about, was like surrounding himself with great people, right? Like that's how he's come out on the other side of it, right? So, for the people that are listening and things like that, like that's important, making sure that, especially young athletes that are making this money now with NIL, like it's important to have a firm foundation of faith and people that are going to be around you, that are going to help you make the best decisions for your financial future, your mental health, and things like that. And like I said, that's something he talked about, having, to be able to have gotten through all the things that he's gone through. So shout out to Johnny.
Yeah, shouts out to Johnny, man. Mental health and everything is definitely real, no matter how much money you got, how much money you don't have. Like I said, make sure you're surrounding yourself with the right people, family, friends, whoever it may be, that help you stay in a positive light. Like I said, my dad used to always say, like, you are who you hang around, and to an extent it is true. You hang around bad people, you probably into some bad shit. You hang around good people, you probably gonna be doing some good stuff. And then, like I said, I know it's cliche, but it's really true. And that's kind of like how Johnny said, like early on in his career, you want to party, you're going to be hanging around people that want to party, and that you probably end up doing drugs and doing some shit that you probably don't want to get into. So if you hang around the right people, try and do the right things as much as possible. Like, nothing wrong with having fun. Like I said, we all have done it at some point throughout, our life, college, NFL. There's nothing wrong with having fun. There's nothing wrong with, buying cars, nothing wrong with, wearing jewelry, but that shouldn't be are center focused. That should just be like a little bit of the icing on the cake. Nothing wrong with dressing nice. Nothing wrong with having a good time. All that, but we all just got to be smart. And speaking of, the Cleveland Browns, they have their new quarterback over the last 2 years. Deshaun Watson got his fully guaranteed contract 2 years ago. And this year, dog got a cap hit of $63.3 million.
Woo!
They said that's 25% of the cap, for the team this season.
Can you restructure?
So man trying to restructure.
Yeah,
I
mean, he ain't trying to do that.
He gonna have to. He gonna have to, man. Not this past year, but the year before, he was suspended for the 11 games, and he finished the season, didn't perform very well. This year he had some good performances, some down performances. You saw a little bit of the light, and then he got hurt. So he has to take some of a pay cut, man. I understand the contract. I thought he deserved as far as performance wise. I know he had the off the field issues, but I still think he has the potential to get back to where he once was. But to me, it's not quite there yet. And if that team wants to kind of stay together and be a championship football team, you gotta take a pay cut. That's
restructure that. Get some people around you.
I mean, I know that the salary cap goes up, every year, which is good, but still, a 63.3 cap hit. That's OD.
You know what's so crazy though, dog, and Deshaun really at one point was in that space of
the Mahomes,
best quarterback in the league. Like that year, they went to they ended up losing to Patrick Mahomes. I mean, they ended up losing to Kansas City.
The playoffs.
They were up
Kansas City.
They was up something crazy, right? And then Kansas City ended up coming back and winning that game. And it just seemed like after that, it was just a downhill. If Deshaun can just, and I know he went through some stuff that, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to comment on. I don't, we don't know what it is.
Leave that alone.
Leave that alone. Stay out of it, right? But if he could just get back into that mode, dog, of just focusing up and, I know it's so much stuff still on his plate, but if he could put that to the side and get back to that Deshaun that he was in, Houston, and he got the weapons. Yeah. Bro, he got the weapons. And, I tell people this about Amari Cooper all the time. When Amari want to go, when he want to go, he's unguardable, dog. Yeah, he's fast. He can run. He can run great routes. He get in out of his breaks. It just a Coop got to just want to go. Yeah, and he could be, top 3 in the. I know everybody. There's so many receivers in the league, but Coop could be top 3, top 5.
One of the ones.
Yeah, for sure.
So, he got the guys around him. He got the defense around him, dog. Mm-hmm. Now you just got the, obviously this year, some injuries and stuff, put him to the side. But, man, you just got to lock in, stay healthy, dog, and get Cleveland to, that promised land that they've never been in a long time.
They might have a chance, bro. We didn't think the Bengals was going to ever make it in our lifetime, and look what happened.
Yeah.
You never know. But, I mean, he's got, he's coming off of a chunk of time where he wasn't playing the game, right? That's hard to get back in the game, and especially NFL game speed after being out. What was he out? 2 seasons?
Yeah, pretty much. He didn't play that whole year in Houston. They got suspended the next year for 11 games, and then this year I don't know how many games he actually played, but he got hurt back half of the year. Yeah.
Yeah, he gets back into the flow and gets back into that game speed, man. He can be back. He can get back to his old self, making and doing the things that he used to do for sure.
Yeah. And you know what's so big in our games, bro, and we, a lot of people don't really understand, but it's confidence, dog. Mm-hmm. Your confidence, bro. Your confidence can be here, and when people get to tweeting you go through situations and all that shit, those things are in the back of your mind, bro. Yeah. Those things affect players' games.
Yeah,
I just think he got to get back to that confidence and that mental space of man, I'm really a top dog in this league. Let's go play, and he'll be okay.
Yeah, for sure. I love to see him get back to where he was. He's, like I said, I got to compete against him quite a few times. Patriots versus Texans, and I said he always gave us plenty of problems with his arms, with his arm, with his legs. He was he definitely was one of them ones a few years ago. We'll see if he can actually get back to that. Some more news in the NFL. Dolphins release Xavier Howard. We trained with Xavier Howard, for quite a few years. Really, really good football player. Obviously, ball hawk. one of the best corners as far as that ball going in the air. He around it. He's going to go get it. I know the last 2 years haven't been as great. He's been banged up. But like I said, another really good football player on the free agent market. I know, there's kind of ruffle of feathers. Like Jalen Ramsey tweeted out, he's like, should be crazy how stuff plays out sometimes. But one thing I know for sure, it was an honor to, team up with him and all that. Like, he wasn't quite a fan of Vic Fangio and his, system, not allowing him and Xavier, I guess, to do what they necessarily want to do, probably shadow receivers and all that, which they fully capable of shutting down a side of a field.
Yeah.
So, I wasn't surprised, he got released based on how much he makes and the injuries over the last few years, but it's definitely going to be tough to see him go somewhere else. But somebody can get him a good corner, man, a veteran corner that can –
Rams, let's get it.
Yeah, go get after that ball for sure. Send it.
Send it, right? You know who I was thinking, bro? And it's a lot of controversy going on, which, KC, bro, pay Snead, dog. But
yeah, for sure.
You gotta make a decision, either Snead or
Iker Jones.
So if you can get X at a discount, you know what I'm saying? It's just this how the league works, man. It's so crazy, right? But I watched a video on Twitter today. That thing was 8 minutes long of Xavier Howard's just picking motherfuckers out. And people gotta understand how hard it is to catch interceptions at any level. Definitely in the NFL, bro. Shit just gotta be falling your way, bro. And he did a lot of that. So I know, especially at the cornerback positions, I think you see it with everybody when you think of the top dogs like Reeve, Pat Pete, Joe Hayden. Like, everybody has those years where they're super superb, and then they tend to slow down. It's just the nature of it's just the nature of the beast in the game. But he's still a good player, man. So if somebody can get him at a good price, put him in the right system, which is why I think, I didn't think Fangio was the right guy for
what they have for their personnel.
They have for their personnel. Like, Jalen Ramsey tweeting what he tweeted, I agree with him. But Jalen is a star piece that you can put him anywhere. Safety, you could put him in the nickel, you could put him on the outsides. He could shadow people. Not everybody is a star piece like that. And in that case, X is one of those guys where I just say, you know what, hey, you got Diggs this week, you got blah 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 this week. You handle your business. Money. And I just think, Fangio with a lot of that like zone scheme and all that stuff like that, it just didn't fit.
He do what he do. He not.
And I heard he's I don't want to say ego, but like he's an old school coach. He's stuck in his ways. It's his way or the highway type deal.
Right.
That's what I've heard. And that can affect, like you said, how people view you in that building.
Yeah, that's how some of them coaches, man, they just do what they do. They not switching shit up no matter how much the players vouch for what they want to do. I'm calling my shit. We're going to call this every week. I know you want to shadow him. I know you want to follow him this week. I'm not doing that. That's not what I do. And that's where some coaches go wrong. And it works for some coaches, obviously. But to me, the best ones are the ones that adjust to, the personnel that you got. And then you maximize their talent. And I think that's where, Ramsey's tweet really stems from. And like I said, it's unfortunate because this was supposed to be, one of them years for the Dolphins where they had a very good season. Like I said, only one team comes out on top. But I know Xavier was hurt most of the year, and even Ramsey was hurt, during training camp and then missed a ton of time. So you never really get to see them play together. Because I really wanted to see that because the two guys that get after the ball, make some plays on the football, but they really were never on the field at the same time. So we never really got to see that. So it was definitely unfortunate, man.
Just another one of those things of like coaches not playing to their players' strengths. Like we talk about that, like with the playoffs and all that stuff. Like coaches making particular decisions that don't fit the mold of like what their team has in terms of capabilities and talent. So I think it's just another example of a coach not relying on the strength of his team.
And I want to give a quick shout out to, because we're talking about, coaches adjusting. I just want to give a quick shout out to Jim Leonard, right? Like,
for sure.
Obviously, you know what I'm saying? He ended up getting the corners job in Denver. And I could tell you, like, in a couple of years, whenever he's ready, he's going to be a defensive coordinator in this NFL. Sure. But just something that always rings a bell in my head that he used to tell me, he's always used to say, like, so everybody's different, right? This corner might be different from you. You might have this that this corner doesn't have. He says, my job is to be, I'm basically a handyman. I'm giving you different tools. I give you a wrench here. I give you a screwdriver here. I give you a ladder here. Those are all just the tools for you to be able to switch up and give, receivers different, looks, different, what I'm saying, alignment adjustments to keep them off their game. And I think that's where coaches have to be more, and they have to be able to adapt to the personnel and players that they have in their rooms. And that's what can take your team to that next step.
100%. Players got to know coaches got to know their players, try and maximize what they got. And I love that. You got the toolbox. So you're going to use a ladder at a different time. You're going to use a wrench at a different time, depending on, who you playing up against, what players. I love that. Love that analogy. Shout out to Jim Leonard. Congrats on the job. He'll definitely be a DC and definitely be one of them head coaching jobs coming soon. I think he's a great leader, a man, like you said, great player in the NFL as well. He's done a great job at Wisconsin, defensive coordinator. Like we said, could have potentially got the head coach job there, didn't get it, but back where he needs to be. But that's a wrap for this Money Down episode, man. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, comment. We on YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, at the Money Down Pod. More exclusive content coming soon.
Hey, y'all been showing love. Keep showing love.
Keep showing love. Tell your friends.
We appreciate it, man.
Much appreciated.
We appreciate it.